because it's mobile, from smartphone to notebook, big number of desktop solution, from 1 liter to big gaming machine, TV, so of any kind of multimedia solution. You will see in the back also 3 or 4 different all-in-one models that we just introduced with the introduction of Windows 7, so touch solution. And then the small medium business part, which is desktop, notebook, and next week we are going to have a big announcement in terms of new server line that we are going to introduce for small medium business customers. Mobility. As I said, on mobility, I think that we look at from one side thin light portability. I think when we think about mobility, we really need to think about how you can simplify customer life in terms of weight and in terms of size. Battery life, as I said, today people expect to have a notebook that is running 7-8 hours, or even more, to have a notebook that is running like any mobile phone, so the all-day computing, which means 12 hours. We are very close to that. Technology is not yet ready. The CPU still consumes too much, but I think that in 12 months we can probably see that to reach 12 hours battery life. Design. The other important area is design. Notebook is becoming really a personal product, and like any other personal product, the design is becoming much more important than in the future. We have a big design team internally, but we are also working with a lot of design firms outside, major design firms, and application. When we think about mobile solution, you also need to think about application store, how you can download the application from the web and so on. And of course, this kind of application, they need to be the same for smartphone, netbook and notebook. Even though from technology point of view, sometimes you have limitation because smartphone is not yet at the same level as netbook and notebook in terms of graphic performance. We clearly see convergence when we look at why we introduced smartphone. We introduced smartphone simply because we see big convergence between PC and mobile. And when we see big convergence between PC and mobile, it's mainly from user point of view. Users, they expect to get from a smartphone more or less what they get from a notebook, from a mobile, any other mobile device, notebook or netbook. So it's much more data related and web browsing and so on than voice. When we think about the smartphone, voice is a given. Of course, we need voice. But I think much more important is the graphic capability and the capability of browsing and to be always connected and to get your mail or to chat or to be connected with your social networking and so on. And this is why we think that when on the smartphone, PC company, they have a big chance to be more successful than telephone companies simply because we know data and web application much better than phone companies. Netbook, it's another important segment in mobile. You know, when we introduced netbook 2 years ago, a lot of analysts, they were very, very skeptical, saying that this is not going to be a big deal, it's going to be a niche, people they don't like it and so on. People they don't like it, and the final result is that this year worldwide the market will be very close to 30 million, which is almost 20% of the notebooks sold. 20% of the notebooks sold worldwide are netbook. Fortunately, people they don't like it, otherwise it will be even bigger. And next year, I think is still expected to grow over 40 million. So from 30 million, 28, 30 million to more than 40 million next year. Netbook will continue to grow simply because it's a very perfect solution for people looking to internet device, basic internet device. But we also start to see netbook becoming popular in small medium business or in education. Simply because they are very light, they can have very long battery life, 6 to 8 hours. They can stay always connected because they have 3G integrated. So they are also good in terms of small medium business and education. We lead this market by far. We have more than 35% share, almost the double of number 2. And of course we will continue to invest to make sure that we can keep this market share. Another important, when we talk about netbook, is telco. Telco is today one of the major channels in terms of netbook sales, simply because they sell the hardware and they sell the connection, the data plan. We are also big in telco. You see more or less the same share, 36% also in telco, exactly like we have in the rest of the market. We are working today with all the major operators worldwide. And as JT said, what is incredible is probably today the area where network is more successful than in any other place is the US. That is a very mature market. It's considered to be a very advanced market, but we have seen an incredibly huge quantity in US coming from retail, but also coming from operators. So mobile, but also we need to continue to work on innovation. And when we think about innovation, we already said mobility is from our point of view, one-end and two-end device. So smartphone, but notebook and netbook. User interface on notebook and netbook is much more related to, let's say, Windows operating system. But can be very, very different when you think about alternative operating system, or can be very different when we think about smartphone. So we are working on user interface. We are going to release Android phone just now, and on an Android smartphone we will have a total different user interface than we have today on traditional Windows mobile solution. And multi-touch. Smartphone, I think they've been the first introducing touch experience. People, they start to think that touch experience and touch solution are even better than traditional keyboard experience and keyboard solution. And if touch will continue to grow. Now touch is available, is also at affordable price, but even more important, is reliable in terms of solution. So touch will continue to grow, not only on the smartphone, but will continue to grow also on netbook and notebook. We already talked about battery life. It will continue to be important, will become even more important in the future. The other interesting thing is that from one side we have notebook screen or handheld screen. Then we have a PC screen. But there is another important screen that today we still see mainly for broadcasting, which is the TV screen. But in the future will become an additional screen when you think about the web experience, like any other screen you have today. So not only broadcasting, traditional broadcasting, but mainly related to web application. The last things that we see as extremely important, people they start to carry more than one device. Very often 2 or 3 devices, with data on 2 or 3 devices. Synchronization of this data to make sure that you always have the last updated data on your device is becoming very, very important. We are going to release very soon a synchronization tool that is much more sophisticated than the synchronization tool that you see today, in order to make sure that our customers they can have the same data on all the devices they have, from smartphone to netbook, notebook, up to desktop. So we clearly see a world where from one side we are always connected. As I said, 3G will become very soon a standard on any kind of notebook and netbook, 3G connectivity. We start to see multi-touch and 3D application becoming very, very popular, and I think that in the future most of the movie will become 3D. Now it's still only small availability. But with technology available today, you can start to have a very good 3D experience already. And the multi-touch. Multi-touch is really change, how can I say, user, customer habits. Before it was very difficult to use and also not reliable. Today it's very easy to use, very reliable, much more natural than keyboard interface. So we will continue to work on these three elements: battery life, multi-touch, and 3D. And as I said, the synchronization on the other side to make sure that people they can use any kind of our device, but make sure they have the same data everywhere.